At Always Us Relationship Coaching, we believe that strong marriages are built on more than love. They're built on understanding, intention, and grace.
That's why we created the Blueprint course, a 6-week virtual group experience designed for engaged and married couples who want to grow, connect, and build lasting foundations.
In each session, we'll walk with you through essential topics like establishing healthy boundaries,
navigating conflict with grace, not frustration, and deepening every kind of intimacy, emotionally,
spiritually,
and physically.
Whether you're preparing for marriage or strengthening the one you're in,
the Blueprint course is your next intentional step forward, together.
Join us and let's build something unbreakable. To start, visit our website at therestoringthebreach.my.canva.site.
Schedule your free discovery call today. Let's talk about where you are and where you want to grow.
You have entered the PM. What's up, my people?
What up? What's going on?
There we go. We're doing 50 things at once,
Yes,
but
sir.
we're here.
What's going on? So good to see you guys again. Awesome being here. And we're excited about another pivotal moment. This is what we live for. And we've been talking about, as we do every time we prepare for another one of these momentous moments, we have something awesome that we pretty much want to talk about. And we always bring our experiences to the table. And so some of you already may see what tonight's topic is about. We're talking about family balance and boundaries. And this can be an ugly conversation, or it can be a beautiful one, depending on what your experience is with family, specifically extended family and anyone outside of your relationship.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yes.
I feel like you dove in head first.
Oh, okay. You know, I'm ready. I'm always ready to go.
Always ready to go.
Because we talk about this. We hash this out, man. We talk about, I don't know if you guys realize this, man. What we really try to have organic conversation. And we like to talk about the things that are near and dear to us, the things we've experienced over this 17 years, 17 years together.
A lot of stuff
started in our engagement period. So I might as well start counting it. She's going to correct me every time.
17.
17
You better give
years.
me my year.
I'm telling you, man, that's real. I get it. But a lot of the stuff that we've walked through, we know and we've recognized so many people deal with it.
Yeah.
And there are practical things that we've gleaned from others. We value community. We value the nuggets that people are delivering over this gift called social media. And we realize there are so many people that are just not equipped to deal with it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so a lot of external pressure, and we want to help alleviate that.
Yes. So balance. There's so many different ways you can go with it. I don't think when you are engaged and when you get married, I don't think that you recognize the depths of how difficult balance is. I have talked to many people, like it seems like it's going to be black and white and it's going to be okay. But I feel like the topic of balance and family and boundaries and leave and cleave, this is one of my favorite things to talk about with
People really
couples
knew what that
because
one
it's
was.
very challenging. It
Yes.
is not at all what you think it is. And it's challenging because it challenges you to do something different, even against what you would normally do.
Yeah.
When I think about when we first experienced what that felt like, it was when we got engaged.
Mhm.
And it was our first holiday engaged.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted us everywhere.
Yep.
And we went everywhere. And at the end of it, we were so tired. We were like, I don't know how to, because as soon as we thought we were done, then I got a call. Do you remember? We went to like your family's house, and then we went to like my dad and them with my grandma, and then my other family's house. And then I got a call from my mom's house, and they were like, hey, are y'all coming over? And it was like late and we were tired.
Yeah, we were worn out.
We were. And we were just like dating at this time, or we were engaged. But we didn't know that we were about to start a journey of walking through what this actually is and how detrimental it is to a couple.
Yeah, that was one of our earliest pivotal moments, where we really had to kind of make a choice for us.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are my norms?
Yeah.
What are your norms growing up?
Yep.
And that was something that really came to light. Like, man, and I think we realized that years down the line.
Yeah.
That why would there be tension between you and I with that? And you start diving into it, like, what am I used to? I'm used to when I grew up, my family always going everybody's house, running all over the place. It was 2 or 3 stops. You did the same, but it was a little bit of a different dynamic, right?
Yeah, I did the same, but I was starting my own family, and so I wanted to start hosting and cooking and doing all those things in my own home.
Yeah.
And so that meant if you ever did any type of Thanksgiving cooking, stuff like that, that means there's not time, depending on the way that you do it, to be able to be everywhere all the time. And for me, I'm the type of person, if I made it, I know that some people are like, well, just make some at home and then go out. No, that's not me. That is not my personality. If I made it, we eating it today.
Yeah.
We're eating it while it's hot,
a
certain kind of way. And after all of that work, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge.
I done played sous chef enough over the years, just helping, trying to clean up, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So watching the mental energy that goes into prep, and then the calculate, man, I'm telling you, the schedule that goes into preparing a meal.
Yeah.
Like when Thanksgiving comes around, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna put the mac and cheese in the oven at this time. I got the ham in at this time. And you got to coordinate and calculate, especially if you care about everything being done at the same time. And everything doesn't cook at the same temperature.
I'm not a day before cook.
Yeah.
Unless I will bake the things. And I'll do that the day before. And there's stuff that needs to marinate and sit. I'll do that the day before. But then there's everything else got to be done the day of. I'm not heating up no ham. It's all going to be hot that day. That's just how I am.
ain't complaining.
No, nobody ever has a problem.
No,
right?
No.
But in the beginning, we were establishing these things, and we didn't really know exactly what to call it. Especially when when you first get married. I feel like for me, it took time to even realize that we were a family. I remember we were at church. It was a revival, and the prophet had called Greg up. And he started prophesying to him about his family. And my mother-in-law and all of them was back behind us. And they were shouting because he was like, God said you're going to be able to take care of your family. You're going to have a business. You're going to do. And he starts prophesying like that. And I remember my mother-in-law shouting and worshiping and all of that. And I didn't know at that moment, like we were newlyweds. I didn't really consider us a family. I didn't know that meant me. I was like, oh, okay. And it took some time. It took years before I really understood that meant us, our family, which segues to this clip we want to play.
This is a good one.
It's a really good one.
Stand by.
Family, you're going to break your immediate family. Here's a study that was released by Forbes, and they actually looked at the reasons why people got divorced. Number one, 43%, lack of family support. The point is this: your extended family can't make you, but they can break you. Infidelity doesn't even rank as high, or lack of compatibility, or intimacy, or arguing, or finances, or commitment, or parenting. You hear all the time, well, the two most important things in marriage are money and communication. No, it's actually not. It's if the in-laws are acting like outlaws. That's the big issue.
That was missed on there. We missed the one part. In the very beginning, we watched this guy, and he's really awesome. Something he said that I never recognized until later. He said, people always give him a hard time about this, but he said, when you get married, you are not joining that family in that. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I
actually
just shared this with one of my bros over the weekend. So oftentimes you hear, go ahead. I thought you needed help laying it out.
No,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
He said you become your family. So my parents and siblings and his parents and siblings become extended family. You are not joining as it's all of us. It is actually, it's us starting a new family, and then our people who are immediate family become extended family.
Yeah.
I think this is so hard for parents.
Well, what's the first thing we hear parents say? That's what I was going to say to support what you were going to say. The first thing that parents say is, man, I gained a daughter or I gained a son. And in theory, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, we have to look at it in context, because oftentimes in-laws take that and they abuse it, and they use it for a position or control. And you have become the extension of this new family created. When we get married, our home is our family.
Yeah.
And then everybody on the outside is extensions of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where they're extensions of our household.
Yeah.
It's not grandma and granddad, or mom and dad, and then son and daughter, and then grandkids, and then mom and dad have autonomy over who controls holidays, who controls this. We go where Big Mom says go. No. They are an extension of your family. And you, each time a couple gets married, you are now creating a new hub that has an extension of your family.
Yeah. And so in that new hub is created new traditions and new ways that they're going to go and what they're doing, because God has given them now the space he has a mission for that family.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in a way, I guess, our parents are not included in the inner parts of that family.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult, because we all are getting adjusted to what this new family looks like. We personally have gotten and dealt with a whole lot when it comes to that, and learning how to make choices for our family. And it's been a journey with that.
Yeah, it goes into to start off with really kind of having, so let's start with the family balance piece before we go into boundaries.
Okay.
Or maybe this is probably better for boundaries, and then we can bounce back to the balance. Either way, it's going to work. That example is such a powerful example, because I think, and we talk about identity a lot.
Yeah.
I think when parents transition, and we'll talk about the leave and cleave, when parents transition from no longer being the covering and the responsible party for their sons and daughters, because they have now stepped out of the household and become adults, you transition from being the provider of these children, the source of these children, to being coach.
And giving them the direction.
You're now coach.
Yeah.
So you're not in position. Now you're in a position where you have to let them go and allow them to work these things out. Now let me provide a disclaimer here, because there's some people that may be watching this or watch this down the line. They're like, man, y'all kids are still living in your house. What you know about dealing with children that have left the home? We don't. We have left the home though.
Yeah. And
we can talk from a standpoint of being the children that have had to now venture out on our own and needing our parents to be the coach.
Yeah.
and not being the one that says, well, we don't like that you're making these choices.
Yeah.
The
I don't like
reality
how
is,
y'all are doing that, or I don't think y'all should do
Absolutely.
it like this, or I don't like that the kids are this. And
yep, the reality is that
it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Sorry, that there's no easier
Sorry,
way to
not
say
sorry.
it. And the difficult part about that is that, or the detriment
Mhm.
to your children is that you're not allowing them to grow.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
They have to learn to make these choices, and they need you as the coach to help them walk through these things. How beautiful would it be for Cache to want to establish these traditions, for me and her want to establish these traditions at home, and us to have supportive parents
Mhm.
that say, okay, what y'all thinking about doing?
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Go
Yeah.
ahead and do that. Rather than, for me, it was such a wrestle. Because as I mentioned earlier, I come from a background where we went all over the place, where family was used to being able to come together all the time for these holidays. If mom and dad wanted you to come, you came.
I came
And
from
so
that
I
too.
wrestled. I literally, if I could sweat blood, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
It felt like, man, my wife wants to establish these things,
Mhm.
but my mom and dad want me to come over here.
Yeah.
My brother wants me to come over here. My sister's calling for me. We got extended family that's calling for us.
Mhm.
And not having an understanding and the support to be like, this is great. That's your home.
Yeah.
You guys want to do something, go cook.
Yeah.
If you want us to come, great. We have an invitation. You guys can come, great.
Yeah.
Creating an environment
That's
where
it.
we can fuel that, we can feed it,
Yeah.
and it can become something that is productive,
Yeah.
rather than something that's toxic, where we feel like there's a wrestle between who's more important. And that's
Yeah.
not what the family balance is about.
Well, that's the part that's most difficult, because I've heard a lot of moms say that they still feel that they are first when their son gets married.
Ooh. We see
And-
so many social media posts about, should mom be this?
Should she
pick
go in the
your
front?
wife? Yeah, should she sit in the
should
front of the car?
kids-
Yeah.
Should I get so tired of those.
Yeah.
But anyways, I've heard a lot of moms still feeling, I think the struggle is they are moving into a new phase in their life.
Mm,
As a mom, you are doing everything for everybody for a long period of time.
it's really good.
And once the time is leaving, for me, I married the oldest son. And also my girl said about her husband, the same as mine. He also was the golden child. Yes. Everywhere. Greg, everybody
I
loves
can't
Greg.
stand hearing that for the
Everybody
record.
loves Greg.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so you get the first one to leave. And I feel like that is probably one of the most difficult ones,
Mm,
you know, and you are transitioning into a new space in life. And I've heard women whose children have left not know what their life should be now.
wow.
They put
Yeah.
everything into their children, their husband, everything. The kids leave and they're like, what am I supposed to do now?
Mm,
I actually know a woman who started a coaching business specifically to empower mothers who are
Empty
empty
nesters.
nesters. And
Wow.
I thought it was the most powerful
That's
thing
dope.
I've ever heard,
that's dope.
because I think I can empathize with a mom whose kids are gone. And even though there's like a little bit of relief, there's also like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, who am I now? Blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
But I think the thing that's forgotten a lot is that your kids are starting this thing and they don't know what they're doing. It is not helpful to be in the back trying to still be number one in your son's life. Now you got this tug of war because you're saying choose me or your wife,
Yeah.
whether you're saying it or your actions are saying it. You know, I don't like the choices you're making because, you know, I want this and I think that. You're missing the point that they are adults and they were called to become one. I always thought it was interesting that the Bible says a son shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife.
Mm,
I always thought that was funny, but here goes my theory as to why. Growing up, me and my friends, when we would get a boyfriend, we would be gone.
mm,
We'd be out. We wouldn't even see each other. Like, oh, Cache got a man. She ain't at the lunch table with us no more. It seems like for us, it's easier for us to like acclimate to that.
mhm.
where I've seen this more tender side. I even recognize with my own sons, like my daughter, she's real independent. And my sons are too, but I can see them just having a comfort with being at home or near home or something like that, in a way where, you know, the girls, eventually the mama and the girls sometimes be clashing because she's learning how to run her own life and have her own home. I always tell my daughter, she's a boss. I said, you're going to be a boss one day. You're going to run a tight ship in your house, because she is very much like organized with things, even with her baby dolls. I'm like, them kids is going to be together. Her house is going to be together, because she already thinks about planning meals and stuff for her babies and stuff like that, it's in her to do. Where the boys are like, they playing games, they doing this stuff, and they're not necessarily thinking about leading a home. But girls have babies, dolls, and kitchens. And so we're like learning how to care for our home with every toy we have from, you know, and so it's difficult when your life transitions, I imagine, to not doing that, having to learn how to do that. And so I've seen on this group we're a part of, the Marriage Club, they talk about, I saw somebody asking like, so me and my husband are married, what do we do about the holidays? And my answer is always, I'm like, people ain't going like what I say, because, you know, to me, that's not a difficult conversation. Y'all need to decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
If y'all want to go to his family's house or whatever, fine. If you don't, that's fine. Really, it is your choice. You guys discuss, what are we doing? What do you want to do? What are we thinking? And as I've said, and you'll hear me say a million times before, your relationship is customized to you. Nobody should be leading that ship for you. It should, well, I know my dad will be sad if I'm not there. Well, I know my mom's going to want me to do this. Well, I know, no, y'all are building your family, your home. What do you need right now? And here's the truth of it. You are going to go through different transitions. When Greg and I first got married, we were able to go places. Then we started hosting a little bit. We bought our home. Then we started having a lot of kids. And then it was like, it's too much to be picking up everybody and going. And people are not as forgiving
and understanding
when they want something, especially your family. Like, oh, you just.
Well, let me touch this.
Yeah.
The biggest piece with this is the struggle with change.
So
that's really what it is. And if we can empathize a minute for the people who are causing hell, for the ones who, let's empathize. We have to be realistic here, because I don't think it's everyone's intention to make their sons and daughters and in-laws' lives difficult.
Yeah.
I think it's a struggle with accepting change.
That's good.
The picture that you've created and you've had all your life, like our children are young. And thank God we have an understanding now that we're preparing them to become adults in this world.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that mindset, even though you may think you do. Do you really, if you really assess and evaluate, you'll have this mindset that one day you're leaving me.
Yeah.
So I'm really raising you to leave me. If you come into this, if you have this understanding in the beginning that I'm preparing myself for change, and I don't think anything ever fully prepares you for it, but you have it in your mind.
Yeah.
When you're at that altar, you're standing there, you're watching your children at that altar. It's a truly emotional moment, because you're recognizing I'm letting you go.
My mom used to say that all the time. She said she saw a pastor, and the pastor said, when your kids go to the altar, after they say, he said, give them a hug and give them a kiss goodbye.
That's tough.
And it's sad, but it's really just symbolizing that there's a change that's going to happen.
Well, let me do this. Let me touch this. Because I'm thinking, man, I always have pictures in my head of a perfect world. We're in a fallen world. That's why we have these difficulties that we do. But in a perfect scenario, if we had a mom and dad who understood the principles we're talking about today, that we're making choices for our family. They had that principle, and then they have children, and these children grow up and they begin to create their own families of their own. And now you understand that they too have to make choices for their family. Will we have these arguments? Because we understand, man, we're making choices for our home. And then we have siblings who are married and they're making choices for their home. And then we have parents who have children now who understand the principle of making choices for your own.
Mhm.
So you're really kind of having just a conversation of trying to coordinate time.
Yeah.
That's really where how can we make some time for each other? And
Yeah.
and we also understand that everybody, this is the type of talk we have all the time about our community. Like our friends, close friends, understand that everybody is trying to navigate this life.
Mhm.
And so when we're able to connect, man, it's a
It's
family
dope.
reunion. We love it.
Mhm.
When we can't connect, it's like, salute, man. I understand.
Yeah.
There's no hard feelings. I'm not holding you to your time. I know that you don't have it out for me and you're trying to avoid spending time with me.
Yeah.
You would be here if you could.
Yeah.
And you're sending your love, man. I love you too. Can't wait till we connect again.
Mhm.
It's the same principle. If everybody understood, man, all these households, we're trying to make choices for each other. We're trying to create memories.
Yeah.
We're trying to create
Trying
traditions.
to raise human beings in this world.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
Mm.
It's not easy. And so now having added pressure of, our family who's already done that,
Yeah.
it really is what you said, which is struggle with change
Mhm.
and accepting. I don't have to make Cachet I don't have to demonize her because she can't be at something. I don't have to make it like, oh, she just don't care about us and da 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 da. But maybe, understand they're navigating this life. There was something you shared a few weeks ago where he said, Tim Ross said, my emergency is not your emergency,
Mhm.
or your emergency isn't mine. And we got a little bit of slack about that. But the truth is, if we all understand that everybody is dealing with different things in their life and they're going through different things, we'll understand that everybody isn't going to jump to. Everybody isn't going to
Got
jump.
Our son
He commented.
commenting in the comments. Boy said
But
true fact.
everybody's not going to be able to jump to your aid at all times. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you, they don't care about you. There's another type of balance I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We experienced and we really dealt with for a while was balance with ministry and family. I want to touch this because
Let's take our time. Don't rush it.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay.
You getting excited. And
I'm not. I'm just
Make sure you get your points out.
me.
Slow down. Balance of ministry and family.
Yes.
Okay.
Greg and I have been a part of ministry.
We don't gotta give a whole
since we were.
Yeah.
He said slow.
Gotta do all
no,
that.
I do.
Yeah.
Some people don't know this.
Okay.
Some people don't know this. We have our audience, and then we have people who are watching that don't know. Greg and I
digress.
Have been a part of ministry in some way in leadership since we were kids.
Mm.
We were fortunate to be a part of a ministry that valued children in ministry, like teenagers. And they saw the gifts in us and they put us places. And that was dope. It taught us a lot. We learned a lot. We grew a lot. And this is what Greg and I separate. Greg and I get married. We have similar ministries, you see, even here and now, which we didn't know at the time. And we started having children and trying to learn how to transition from being, because I was ordained a minister when I was 18.
17.
18.
18?
18.
Okay.
18. And then later when we got married and stuff, he was ordained later than that. As we were having children, our life began to change. We were no longer able to be at everything for everything. And as I tell people all the time, a lot of us were wishing, man, I wish they would just stop doing stuff all the time. No. It's part of the ministry that they will always be doing something.
Yeah. Every organization still has a weekly schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, it is your responsibility, just like with your family and your extended family and holidays and whatever. It is also your responsibility as a family to figure out what you can and can't, what you should and should not do in ministry. There was such a great struggle for a long period of time. I remember Greg, and you might have heard it in different pods. You'll probably read it in the book one day. He struggled so bad with trying to figure out the balance of it all. I remember being in Family Christian Bookstore, which that's an old head. Might as well said Hills. But I remember Greg was in there desperately looking for a book to help him to know how to be a father and a husband and a minister and all the pulls in life. He didn't know how to do it because one side is saying, be at everything. You're supposed to do everything. You're supposed to sacrifice because God, blah, blah, blah. The other side, family, depending on what time it was, I was having a baby. So there may have been some postpartum or just no sleep because we had a baby, or we're transitioning because we brought a new human being into this world who needs to be taken care of and cared for. And he still has to work and take care of the family. And he struggled for a long period of time because there was no one that was able to give him what he needed to pour into him, as that coach he talked about, as to how to balance his family. And ultimately, I feel like it took, like God had to teach. It really was like God teaching you.
No, it was.
How?
Absolutely.
Because no one,
Absolutely,
from all he knew, a man's supposed to be, he even got.
And later on, I learned. I also learned by seeing examples outside of my local church community.
Yeah.
Which is something that's important, that we have to recognize. The world is so vast and so broad.
Yeah.
That there's so much that we can learn from the Big C church.
Yeah.
That I watched men do it well in other places.
Yeah.
And it showed me like, man, it's possible. So that's really where it started, the journey of me pursuing, like, I need something.
Yeah.
I need something because I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let this be a plug to please show some grace to worship leaders.
Oh my Lord.
Like this is just a sidebar because everybody jumps up and down and they're excited about programming. But worship, people who are involved in worship invest a lot of time and energy. And we were just talking about this, 30 plus minutes of worship, especially for revival services.
Or longer.
Several nights consecutively
With
is a
babies.
lot of energy, bro.
It is after work.
You know what I mean? So
With
just
children.
show some compassion when you're putting together programming. If you don't have multiple teams to be able to work through people, consider that.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody, if you're pursuing God, you have a heart to worship and draw people into God's presence and use your gift to edify him. But if you're responsible for putting people in place, consider not overworking. I passed out twice.
He passed out twice
in my teenage years, and while we were married, I literally fainted because of how much work we're putting in.
Yeah, he did. He literally
so
at church.
That's a key piece, man. But the balance is important.
Yeah,
it really is, especially as a man, but for women too. I think it's both. I think it's necessary for both.
Totally both.
We're talking about from a husband's standpoint. I think it's crucial for husbands because oftentimes these are the moments where we are protector.
Yeah.
So when we talk about men being providers, protectors, we look at it monetarily, we look at it physically, where we can stand in front of our wives and children and take a bullet. But there are other ways that we can protect our family.
Yeah.
There are other ways that we can shield from external factors. And when we're talking about ministry, home balance, one of the ways that I really learned from experience of being protector is standing in the way and saying, yo, these are the choices that we're making. This is, when we're having, a lot of churches have New Year services. Yeah. We're bringing in a new year. Beautiful. But for us, my babies have to be in the bed at a certain time. Yeah. And we're not letting them sleep in the back of a church. We're not letting them sleep on the pews at midnight. Some people cool with that. We weren't okay with that. Yeah. That was a principle for our home. Yeah. That was our practice.
And that you hit a point right there.
Yeah.
That was the principle for our home.
Yep. If you do that, that's fine. That's you. Well, but we decided to do that. And so I say all that to say, respect those boundaries that others are setting in order to try to set some structure for their family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that goes on both sides. That's for your family, your extended family.
Yeah.
That is for ministry. That's for any other thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I think there is a worry because it's like, am I disappointing God? If I'm not there, will God? Because I was so used to leading worship and doing the programs and all the different things that even for me to transition to motherhood and how it was pulling on me, like, because they needed me and they need me, I struggled with, am I not doing what I should be doing for God? Which makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing that God established was the family.
Yeah.
And the Bible talks about an elder. And when it talks about the qualifications of an elder, it says that his home got to be in order. Now, if I ain't never home, how my home going to be in order? So if the kids are, I'm just saying what I'm saying because it's true.
It's very true.
And it's like that for lots of different things.
Yeah, I've literally seen pastors get up and say, God has called me to sacrifice my family. And I'm like, what?
It's not biblical.
What?
At all. Sometimes we don't even know that we are sacrificing our family, our children and our families. But that's why you see so many PKs and stuff like that who are like, my parents wasn't really there. Like I saw what they were doing in ministry, but at home, there was a struggle. I didn't really ever see my dad or mom. I didn't, they were always there. They did a lot for the outside, but not much for, they didn't mean to. And so there's a struggle because you know that they're doing this to help people and they're doing it for God. But you feel selfish saying, well, what about me? But the truth is your first ministry is home, as I said again.
That's good.
And so, the family unit, as we talked about, in the very beginning, that's established, has to learn how to create balance for all of those things, from my mom and dad and grandma and sisters and brothers and uncles and whatever, all the way into whatever else that I'm doing in my life, to ministry as well. Mm-hmm. It's not just in ministry. It ain't just with it's all of that.
Yeah. We
are establishing a new family. And when that happens, it's just like bringing a newborn baby into the world. It has to be nurtured. It has to be taken care of. It has to be looked after. And I always give my husband credit for this. I always say this. I know a part of Greg's transition or his learning how to balance us was because of his love for me. I will always give you credit for that, because he saw me struggle and he had to go against what he was hearing to do, because he was seeing me struggle, and his love for me and our family caused him to make decisions that were in the best for our family, but is why we're here today. It really is. And I tell people this all the time, and this is a part of loving your wife.
Yeah, I didn't always get that right.
No, he had a hard time.
Well, the last session, what we talked about fighting fear.
Yeah.
And one of the big disagreements that we had, it wasn't a physical one. It was a verbal.
Finally, it wasn't.
A verbal dispute was me trying to make the best choice in a ministry home balance choice.
Yeah. It
was a New Year's service. She was at home with the kids. I was coordinating the service, making sure everything was flowing right. And I had a goal. We talked about it. Yeah. Hey, I'm leaving at 11:30.
Yeah.
11:15, 11:30. I'm gonna be home by midnight.
Yeah.
And that way we can crack open the sparkle and kiss each other when the ball drops.
Yeah.
And we had this big program, trying to coordinate everything. Everybody's trying, pulling and making sure everything's flowing well. And I look up and it's midnight.
Yeah. It was always after.
Yeah.
It was always getting home after. But this one year when it was a final straw, we had talked about it. There was planning done. He made sure somebody was going to be able to take it while he was there. And it just didn't happen. And it was a PM moment for us, because we had a really big fight after that. Dang, I had a thought and I forgot what it was. But in all of that, we learned how to put our home first.
Yeah. It
was not easy. And here's the other part about ministry that I want to add, because everything isn't for harm. When God is moving and he's using you and you're seeing things, it's easy to feel like I'm supposed to be here. Because you have a passion for that ministry.
That's good.
So sometimes home ministry isn't as much fun right now. Home ministry, I got work to do here. We're fighting. We're having an issue or whatever. I don't want to work on that. But here, everything is great and good and wonderful, and God is moving, and people actually praise me for what I'm doing, whether we want to say that or not. People are clapping for me. My spouse will never say nothing good about me right now, depending on the space that we're in. And you can mistakenly still put these things before what your first ministry should be, which is your home. So if man, I have a friend, they were going through some things and their pastor would not let the husband do no work in ministry. He said, go home and fix home. He said, I could use you here. There is stuff that you could do, but you need to go fix home first. And then we'll talk about,
That's leadership.
I had never heard this before.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's easy to be like, oh, well, people will take as much as you give them.
Yeah.
That's what your regular family, everybody.
We talk about that. Time is currency. It's the most valuable currency that you can ever give people.
Yeah.
And what you cannot do is have an expectation of people considering your currency.
Yeah, they don't know what you're doing at home.
I mean,
they don't know what you need.
Let's turn time into actual money. If I walk up to you and hand you $20, you're assuming you're allowing me to have the $20. You're not asking, oh, is this good for you? Is it okay? You know, it's like,
that's
man, I'm giving you this time. And what will they do? They'll take the time and they'll use it for what they need to use it for.
That's good.
So it's the same principle. If I'm not mindful of how I balance and budget, budget my time, I will overspend.
Ooh.
And then I'll end up broke.
Oh my gosh.
You'll end up bankrupt.
That's good.
You'll end up bankrupt with your time. And so good. And man, I think about that home being the first ministry conversation. It's very controversial. We've heard people try to argue against it.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite foolish because we can just go through historical context. And like you pointed out, God did not create the Church of Acts before he created Genesis.
No.
The family was created
he
well
said,
before.
Be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion.
Well, I don't know if I said this the last time, but the picture that God gave me with that, when we go back to Eden, it was in God's presence. He created the family in his presence.
Yeah.
He said, these are the things I want you to do and what I don't want you to do.
Yeah. And
I want you to multiply.
Yeah.
Multiply the rules and multiply the authority and dominion that I've given you. Multiply yourself, what I've created, because you are good, and populate this earth. Take over the earth, spread what I created, this beautiful creation that I created on the earth.
Yeah.
And so the original intent for God was for us to have beautiful, healthy family in communion with him.
Yeah.
In his presence,
yeah.
Multiplying what he created. But which
would be building his church, actually.
What?
It would be actually building his church if you do it that way.
We're his bride.
It's not building his building.
It's not about
an organization.
No, it's not about the institution of the church. It's about Big C Church, us being his bride as a whole.
Yeah.
We have the institution in order for us to have community. That's necessary for us to have a gathering place to come together. And in some places, we don't have 4 walls. It could be 1,000 people joining on Zoom. What is to say that's not the church? It is the church because we're being edified. We're being able to break down the word of God. We may worship in some way, come together. Maybe it's, us worshiping in our homes, or we meet at a park and we're coming together as the body. Yeah. The Spirit of God moving. All of that is a part of the church. Yeah. That's the important concept that we have as us coming together as the body. Yeah. But how more beautiful would it be for there to be healthy families making up the Big C Church? Yeah. That's really why we do what we do, because we know it's the necessity of the family being restored so the Big C Church can be healthy. Yeah. That's the big picture. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. There are a lot of broken people in the Big C Church because of their background and brokenness in family. Well, there's a lot of broken families in the Big C Church. Yep. That's why you see people in church. You think we have the blueprint, right? So it should not be that as much people in the church are getting divorced as those in the world. But sometimes we will use church as a crutch and to not fix, as I said before. And then we're wondering why our families are still falling apart. Well, I got a call on my life, so I got to do this, I got to do that. And it's like, well, the call on your life first is your family. That's why even Paul said, it'd be better if you didn't get married because your time and your life is divided. I learned so much at home that helped in church. Oh, I learned how to be patient and still learning how to be patient. That's good. At home with my children and with you, and even with myself. All, don't say with you with eyes like that. Don't say it. I learned how to be patient at home. I learned how to craft and be mindful of my words? Is it something that is it intelligible? Can I break down the message I'm trying to deliver as if I'm talking to my children? I've utilized those strategies on the pulpit.
Yeah.
Home taught me this.
That's good.
How I love, how I'm compassionate, and utilizing active listening. Because, man, I can't say how many times we mess up in ministry because we're not actively listening to hearing people. I learned that at home.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking with my guys, or I'm talking with people on the street or at work, or in ministry, and somebody's explaining something to me, I'm actively listening. I'm listening to them. I'm listening to the Holy Spirit. What are you telling me, God? Is there something you want me to do? Do you want me to just be quiet and listen?
Good.
Sometimes the Holy Spirit will allow me to discern something in that moment that I can speak into that person's life. I learned that principle at home. How many people we got from pastors on down going home and can't connect with their wives because they don't know how to shut up and listen?
Ooh.
They don't know how to be quiet and say, I need to hear your heart. And I need to hear it in a way where I'm not trying to convince you of something or I'm trying to shut you up. I'm hearing a cry out. How can I connect with it? What am I missing? Am I doing something that is not helping or restoring this piece that you need?
Yeah.
Can I identify something that might be deeper in you that I have nothing to do with? Brothers, you ain't always responsible for her hurt, but you can play a tremendous part in helping with her restoration.
You're preaching.
It's just the bottom line. That's the bottom line. She has been that for me in so many ways. This is where, as a family, this is why it's important that we identify that we're a unit.
Yeah.
It's always us. That's why we called our coaching always us.
It was really built off of learning that everybody else's extensions and it's us.
Come on, man.
Because in the middle, when we had that big argument after the New Year's Eve service, it was me and you.
Yeah.
When we had that discussion, it was the only discussion we ever had about should we get divorced. It was just the two of us. Nobody cared. Nobody was dancing to Will Your Heart and Soul Say Yes. Nobody was singing Freedom or nothing else like that. Me and him were in the car having an argument where it led to, well, should we break up? And this is when we started to see and we started to learn, like, nobody's here with us doing this. So we need to nurture this.
Yeah.
We need to take care of this. Our parents have raised their children. That's why we're here today. So I don't need to appease. I hope that you understand. And I can say, Mom, Dad, Grandma, sister, whatever, we can't do it this time, but maybe we'll get together a different time. Back to the family. I knew a lady her kids were all over the place. They never could get together. So she said they had Christmas in July. She decorated her house. The whole family agreed. All her kids, their spouses, the grandkids, and they made a whole new thing because she said we never could get together on actual Christmas. And she was like, and so we find something else to do for Christmas. And then we come together in July, and it became a tradition for the whole family to do.
Now that grandma. And I would probably wonder, she probably has some moments, even in creating that tradition, where when Christmas time comes around, it might get a little hard.
Yeah.
But she understood the necessity of creating space for them while still trying to find a way to get something for herself. That's really what it's about. Like, there are so many holidays that could be saved if some people just had a gathering a week before.
Man.
Everybody don't have to do it on Thanksgiving. Everybody don't have to do it on Christmas Day. And now we're arguing about whose house is going to be. Maybe we can coordinate it. Maybe everybody at the crib by themselves and we Zoom call each other. I love you. But the bottom line is the same principle we take with how can I meet your need and you can meet my need. We take that principle and we do it with our extension. And everybody's loving on each other. And we're setting boundaries for each other and we're supporting each other in the best way that we can, to say we need this to grow everywhere. I think about this in terms of like colonialism. And when countries are trying to expand, like Rome, when you're talking about an empire, you're trying to establish what you've created in other places. I think that same principle, I want We want our children's homes to be strong,
Yes.
not just this Coleman household. When Greg grows up and he's already sprouting up, the boy will be in high school in the fall. It's tripping me out. But when he steps into that holy matrimony and gets a wife and starts to establish his family, we want his family to grow.
Yeah.
We want Micah's family to grow. We want Juliana's family to grow.
Yeah.
We want Asher and Judah's family to grow.
Yeah.
In every single way and expand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Coleman traditions that we've established here, we pray that it remains in their DNA.
Yeah.
And they begin to expand it in a whole nother way.
Yeah.
You know, got the dog back here
She
scratching her
didn't hear.
pillow.
We done moved out, and
Yeah.
here she go.
But that's the objective.
Yeah. The whole point is you don't want to destroy or be a part of destroying your child's family. You want them to have a successful family too.
That's good.
So it can't be just what you want.
That's good.
Even though it's sad, even though there's transitions, even though there's a difference, and now all my kids aren't here all the time, I want to see them, you want them to have healthy, strong families.
That's good.
And if you really want that, you have to allow time and whatever they need to take its course to become that. You're always going to be mom. I remember my therapist said this. She said, it's really silly for moms to be worried about being replaced by their wife.
This is good.
She said, that's never going to be a possibility. You're always going to be the mother. You cannot be replaced by the wife.
That was a cultural lie.
She didn't give birth to you.
Yeah.
Your mother did.
Yeah.
And so there's always going to be honor and respect for the fact that my mom is my mom. But my wife or my husband is my husband, or you know what I mean? And so when she said that, it was just helpful to shift my mind, because even as a wife, you get worried that people feel like, I'm not trying to take you, but you can't take the place.
Well, it's removing the toxic and unhealthy perspective that you have to be number one woman.
Yeah, that's really
in
what
your
it
child's
is.
life. And that's what we talk about, perspective and identity. You don't have to be number one woman. Just be number one mom.
Yeah.
Be the best mother that you could be. Be mom.
Yeah.
And then mom doesn't change. Like how you mother changes because your children are no longer your child.
Yeah.
But you'll always be mom.
And here's
As Jay pointed out.
my last thing with that. And I always say this, and this is what my heart's desire is, because I see people doing this. As the mom.
And dads, man, too. Man, we need y'all, man. We did a lot of talking about moms, and
this moms be cutting up.
Yeah, but dads be cutting up a lot. We're not gonna go there. We know some dads. We know some dads that have ruined lives. We're not gonna go there. But the bottom line is, man, moms and dads, please be the coaches for your children.
Yeah.
If you messed up and you can sit here right now and say, you know what, I didn't do a good job. If they're still around, please take advantage of an opportunity. Step out on faith. Pick up the phone if you can, send a text message and say, hey, I want to be the best coach I can be for you.
Yeah.
And I also want to support you. You know,
you do need it. You need it in a different, you need it in a different way. And if you accept the way that you need, the child needs you now, then you can be such a great asset. And then you'll be like Titus 2, where it says older women teach the younger women how to care for their homes and all of that stuff. You know, what I was going to say was, as a mother-in-law, I want my daughter-in-laws to really like me. So I'm not going to try to be pulling them apart from my son. And then I'll get what I want anyways, because if she likes me, the wife is like, hey, did you think about your mom? Hey, are you going to do?
You done found a spy that gives you access.
Yes. You see, you get access to the grandbabies. Yeah. You get all the stuff you want anyway.
Absolutely.
If you just become allies with the wife instead of making her the enemy.
That's good.
Anyway.
That's good.
I think that we have
we did a lot of damage today.
Did.
So, man, if you enjoyed this, please spread the word.
Absolutely.
The pivotal moments is a movement for us.
Yeah.
Because we've watched how God has had intersections of our lives be pivotal times for us to shift into greater things. And we know that those moments come to you every day. We know you face crossroads, and we know the power of community.
Yeah.
So share this.
Mm-hmm.
Tag a couple people.
Mm-hmm. Give to the cause. We got.
You know what I mean? Let me run that banner, man, because we're not gonna skip out on that opportunity for you to be able to come in. You know what I mean?
Do you have it on there?
Of course, I got that on there. Are you serious?
You
can support
we
PM.
Have a Cash App.
You can send us via Cash App or Venmo to support the cause. This just helps us continue to further reach where we push. It sound like
I mean, but it should. It is. It is helping
Absolutely.
to reach. And also, if you know someone or if you need someone to support you, we have Always Us Coaching.
Yes.
And we have worked a lot and are still working a lot to just have all this stuff that we can give you support in one-on-one, because we're not meant to do this alone. We can be extended community to you and just coach you and help you to move from where you are to where you want to be.
So check out that site, man. You see that banner scrolling across the page? Go on our website. We offer a handful of services.
We do.
For relationship coaching, one-on-one coaching, and group coaching.
Yes.
Our anchored sessions are for groups. Our blueprint course is that intimate one-on-one session where we can dive and tackle specific. Did I mix them up? The blueprint course
is the groups. The
anchored session.
You sure? One-on-one. Yes.
All right. Well, she knows that. But
I know.
Go on the website and see. We created it.
Also, you can bring us in and we can talk or have workshops in your churches,
the PM
or
experience,
at your,
man. Absolutely.
Whatever you want to have. We are open to it all, and we are excited to partner with you.
Absolutely. So allow us to help create a PM experience for you and your loved ones. All right. So take care.
God bless.
God bless.
Hey, before you go, make sure you subscribe and like this video.